welcome back to the Blissful Badger and my March Madness Army Showcase Showdown. Throughout this month, we're going to look at all of my armies, and I'd like you to rate these armies on 5 criteria on a scale of 1 to 10. And then at the end of the month, we're going to tally up all of the scores and see which army is the best out of my collection. So what are these criteria? 1. The paint scheme. Is my army cohesive? What level have I painted it to? Do these colors work for this army? 2. Playability. How did I go selecting models for this army? Is this a viable army on the battlefield? 3. My reason for owning it. Do I have a good justification for owning this army? 4. Theming. How much does this army fit their lore? Have I built this army to a standard that makes sense for what the army does in the lore? And 5, conversions and customization. What conversions did I make to this army? How did I make it my own? So which army are we checking out today?
Today we're going to look at my Marvel Crisis Protocol collection. This may not be considered an army for some, but these are my videos, and I want to show off my collection and everything that I can run in the game. So, as you can see, there is a lot of black or white primed minis here, and even 4 that are not primed yet. So I've been collecting since November of last year, so it's about a 5-month collection here. And I went a little bit heavy on them because it is a fun game, and overall, this is about the cost of, I don't know, an army like AdMech or the Imperial Guard. And yet, I only need 10 of these to bring to a game, and it's a full force. So I have quite a few options here. I've gotten 5 games in so far, maybe 6. And overall, it's been a very fun game to play. And I can't wait to try out a bunch of these other options. So, as you can see here, I have painted up a few of these models, and I've been using them as a nice little break in between each of the other projects that I've been doing. And some I've tried to paint fairly fast. Captain America was about 2 hours. Spider-Man and Iron Man were also in that category. Elektra took a little bit longer than that. And then Magneto was, I think, 2 streams worth of painting. Craven took several hours, but I was trying to do a higher grade paint job on him. But overall, I've been trying out new techniques, different ways to edge highlight, like I did on my Sentinels. Bringing up the brightness of the highlights on Hulk. Doing a decent job of skin tone on the blob. That was quite a few layers to get that flesh tone. So when I started collecting Marvel Crisis Protocol, I started with the CP01 core set and went, you know what? I'll see how I like it, see if I enjoy it. And after that, I realized, well, one game in, I definitely liked it. And so I purchased a few mixed models off of eBay. No cards, and they were in pieces. So that's why my Doctor Strange is in pieces, and why Toad doesn't have a tongue, and why my Black Cat doesn't have a whip. Overall, it was just a let's grab some extra models so I have extra. Just because the core set has 10 in it doesn't mean I only want 10. And also, X-23 was a proxy, so I decided to paint her up in the Wolverine costume colors instead of her normal model. But that gave me a few extra models to play around with. I had a Sin and Viper that I found for a good price, so I was actually able to play Cabal with my first list in my first game. And I lost, but I had a lot of fun and I learned quite a bit about it. And so when Black Friday sales came about, I purchased quite a few other minis, and then I found another lot on eBay and added more to my collection. And yes, I have about 120 characters right now, and not that many of them are painted. About 20, I think it is. But as these are all characters and deserve more time than doing a speed paint on them, I don't feel that bad about it, and I've been enjoying every one of these and trying out new techniques and everything because they are characters. At some point in the future, I plan on doing a non-metallic metal juggernaut because that sounds like a brilliant idea to try out. I haven't tried non-metallic metals yet, but that seems like a great one to try out. Yeah, nice big metallic area with a bunch of shininess and everything. So that'll be fun. So when I did start collecting, I was fairly aware that I was going to want a lot of these models, but I don't feel the need to be a completionist here. There are certain models that may be decent in game, but I'm not actively searching for them. And I think I have about 60% of what exists right now. There are others that I would love to get, like the pre-sale on the Inhumans. I would love to add to my Inhumans list. I would really like to get Apocalypse and Angel and Archangel. I want to add more to X-Force. So Bishop and Nightcrawler are models that I'm looking forward to getting. And overall, I think I want to go more mutants from here as well. But I think I have a decent number of Shield, Cabal, and or Hydra right now. I can run a few things like that right now, but I'm not that worried about it. I do want to get Mysterio and the Web Warriors, so Venom and such, and Rhino. Those are all things that I wouldn't mind adding, so I have Web Warriors and the Spider Foes. I have a good selection already of those, so that can't hurt. I know Beta Ray Bill is a fairly strong option right now. That couldn't hurt either. But overall, oh, and I have, I think, 2 of the Asgardians that I don't own, so probably pick those up just so I have a complete army there. Having all of the different affiliations, I don't mind being a completionist for certain affiliations, but there are some that I'm not as looking towards. Like, I think I have about half of the Convocation right now, and adding more of those probably isn't a bad idea just to have another playstyle, but it's also not super high on my priority list right now. Honestly, a lot of these just came in about a month and a half ago, so if I wasn't actively trying to paint up my Legion of the Damned, I'd probably paint up a few more of these guys. But I really do enjoy having so many different options, and each one is its own single project. So these are really great as a palette cleanser in between other projects that might be a little bit larger than a 2 or 3 hour stream worth of painting. And I love the fact that I can paint them based on the pre-existing color schemes that they have, or even go completely different if I feel like it. I don't know if I'll do any completely different because there are so many different schemes that exist for these guys already, but going from a classic paint scheme to a alternate scheme or anywhere in between, it's really nice to have that flexibility, and I do really enjoy these models. And the game is quite fun and not as expensive as it looks because you don't need 120 models or more. You only need a few. Like, technically, you just need that roster of 10, and you can get a game in with whatever threat level is being called for. But I like options. I collect a lot of minis, and I'm thinking a year or 2 from now, all of these models will probably be painted. And I'll probably have another 20 or 30 of them. And I'm okay with that.
If you would like to see a full breakdown of my army list, there is a link to a spreadsheet in the description below. Subscribe if you haven't so that you don't miss any future videos. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters for making these videos possible. And until next time, I hope you find your bit of bliss.